Intrusive thoughts. They come at the worst times and tend to feel out of pocket, inappropriate, and highly uncomfortable. What if I push that kid in front of the train tracks? Am I in love with the family dog? What if I'm secretly an axe murderer? Let's talk about these thoughts and what to do about them. I'm Tia Wilson with NOCD, and I'm a lived experience advocate for OCD awareness and evidence-based treatment. I know how distressing intrusive thoughts can be because I've dealt with them myself. I also know that it's possible to take their power away. How? I've done it, and I've seen many other people do the same while running NOCD support groups, leading workshops, and working hand in hand with our therapists. And it starts with understanding intrusive thoughts a little bit better. So let's get into it. Having an intrusive thought is kind of like a stranger bursting through your front door. It can feel scary, confusing, random, and overall uncomfortable. It can be distracting and take you out of the present moment, suddenly becoming the most urgent thing in your mind and the center of your focus. The first thing we want to understand about intrusive thoughts is that sometimes they come in different forms than the sentences in our minds that we might usually think of when we hear the word thought. Intrusive thoughts can also show up as intrusive urges, images, bodily sensations, or feelings. So rather than thinking about what would happen if you push someone in front of a train, for example, you might see a disturbing image of yourself doing that action in your head, or feel the physical urge to push. Intrusive thoughts also tend to be ego dystonic, which means they go against our actual values or desires. That's why they feel so distressing. If I was having intrusive thoughts about daisies and rainbows, I wouldn't care. It's only the thoughts that feel uncertain and uncomfortable that we care about. Usually this intense care and discomfort that we feel leads to behaviors based on avoiding that particular thought. We might avoid trains for fear of acting on the thought, or spend a lot of time mentally avoiding the consequence by reminding ourselves of all the reasons we shouldn't and don't want to push anyone onto the train tracks. This can be especially true when someone has obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD. People with OCD often describe these thoughts as extra sticky and hard to shake. This can lead to intense distress and then compulsive behaviors like the avoidance I talked about earlier. When this behavior reaches a level where it's interfering with your day-to-day life, it becomes a disorder. When someone has OCD, they often assume that their thoughts are particularly bad, inappropriate, or disgusting. I certainly felt this way. But here's something interesting. In 1978, there was a study done by Rockman and De Silva. They had people with OCD and people without OCD all share the content of their intrusive thoughts. They found that the people with OCD and the people without could not be told apart by just their thoughts. People without OCD had the same intrusive thoughts. People with OCD just had them more frequently or intensely. So what does that tell us? The content of the intrusive thoughts isn't actually the problem. So what is? The compulsive piece. That's the piece that teaches our brains that the thoughts are scary in the first place. Here's how it works. Imagine if every time you needed a peanut butter for a sandwich, you just reached in the jar and grabbed it out with your hand. You'd be gross and sticky, and it would really impact your day. Is the peanut butter the problem in this situation? No, the problem is the way you're interacting with it. The problem isn't our thoughts, it's the way we interact with them. If we are able to stop responding to distressing thoughts by doing compulsions, our brain can slowly learn that the thoughts are just thoughts. And once we notice that we can live our lives despite unwanted thoughts, we might even feel our distress going away. It might feel counterintuitive at first, but resisting the urge to do compulsions and simply letting the thoughts come and go, like passing clouds in the sky, is the ultimate goal. This is also the focus of ERP, or exposure and response prevention therapy. If you haven't heard of ERP before, it's the gold standard treatment for OCD. Taking it back to my example with the peanut butter jar, ERP would be the spoon that you use to scoop peanut butter. It gives us a way to interact with the thoughts in a way that doesn't take up our whole day or feel nearly as distressing. What makes ERP different from other types of therapy is that it was designed specifically to treat OCD, or in other words, it's specialized. And if you think you might be struggling with OCD, specialized treatment is really important. Traditional general talk therapy, which you might be familiar with, isn't recommended for OCD and can even make it worse. ERP, on the other hand, delivers more consistent results than any other OCD treatment out there. How do we know that? It's been researched for decades. But we also know from experience. We see ERP therapy lead to life-changing results for our members every day at NOCD. And if you're struggling with OCD right now, it could do the same for you. ERP helped me take my life back from OCD, and it's helped many people on the NOCD team do the same. That's why we believe in it so deeply, and why we do everything we can to make it as easy to access as possible. With NOCD, you can do ERP therapy in live, face-to-face video sessions with one of our licensed therapists who deeply understands OCD. We accept many major insurance plans, and we make sure you're supported between sessions when it matters most, with 24/7 access to peer communities, direct messaging with your therapist, and more, all on the NOCD platform. So if you're dealing with any of the things I mentioned in this video and you want to talk to someone who understands OCD and who knows how to help you conquer it, we're here to help. You can find out more and get started today at NOCD.com.